Hello students, in today's video we will talk about rotational symmetry, and in particular we will find the order of rotational symmetry of some very nice examples as you can see over here. Now before I start, let me do a quick recap of the order of rotational symmetry. Well, you see, a figure has a rotational symmetry if it can be rotated about a center point to produce an exact copy covering the entire area. And in this regard, we have got this important concept of order of rotational symmetry, which is basically the number of times the shape can make an exact copy in a 360-degree rotation. Let me show it to you through an example. Okay, what you are seeing here are two identical equilateral triangles. Okay, now I am going to rotate this second equilateral triangle, and you also observe the angle of rotation. So 0 degree. Now let me start rotating. Okay, and see, at 120 degree the two triangles are exactly the same. Okay, the pattern is the same. So 120 degree, one angle. Next, see, 240 degree, second angle. Okay, and then we have got 360 degree. See, 360 degree. So in a way you can say that the order of rotational symmetry of this figure is 3. Okay, order of rotational symmetry is 3. And you can also say this in a different way, noting that this is a symmetrical figure having 3 sides. So you simply divide 360 degree, okay, by 3 sides, and you will get 120 degree. And this means that you have to rotate the figure each time by 120 degree to get to an identical position. Okay, each time. So total 120, next 240. Okay, 120 plus 120, and then 120 into 3, which is 360 degree, identical. So that's the basic idea. Okay, so as I was saying, the order of rotational symmetry of this equilateral triangle is 3, while that of the square over here is 4, and the rectangle has the order 2. Again, let us see through this example. Okay, so you can see the two identical rectangles. Let me again rotate this. See, slowly I am rotating. At 180 degree I get identical figure. Okay, and next again going back to 360 degree. So the order of rotational symmetry here is 2. Okay, since there are 2 positions. And in this regard, let me show you a different figure, this one. What do you think the order of rotational symmetry is? Now this is a tricky question. Why? Because you will notice quickly, if I do the angle of rotation, see, unlike the previous case, here if I do a rotation to 180 degree, the figures don't match, and I have to again go back to 360 degree. So this means that in a way this figure doesn't have any order of rotational symmetry. No rotational symmetry. Okay, this is important, students. See over here, if the order of rotation is 1, just as we have seen, then we simply say that the shape has no rotational symmetry. Okay, so with this in mind, let us start with the first set of examples, which are 3 shurikens. Okay, now let me first show you this one. Okay, now here, before I proceed, you notice that this has got 4 arms. Okay, so in a way you can clearly say that the order of rotational symmetry is 4, but it is better to rotate the figure. Okay, let me show it to you. See, so I am rotating by 90 degree. Why? How do you see 90 degree? Remember what I told you, 360 degree. This has got 4 identical sides. So divide by 4 arms, you get 90 degree. So after each rotation of 90 degree, you will get to an identical position. Okay, 90, next 90 into 2, 180, next 90 into 3, 270, next 90 into 4, 360 degree. Okay, come back. Okay, so what about this case? Here also, similar to the previous case, the order of rotational symmetry is 4. Now this case, you notice carefully, it has got 3 identical arms. So if I keep on rotating, then see, after 120 degree, the figures will match like this. Why 120? Remember, we have got 360 degree total rotation. Now 3 identical arms. So 360 by 3, I get 120 degree. So you can just from the identical arms itself, you can say that the order of rotational symmetry is 3. Now, what about this figure? This is tricky. Why? Because you see, if I rotate this figure for 120 degree, you will not get back the same thing, because there is an asymmetry in this figure. And see, there is a white block spot over here which is not present everywhere. So since this figure is asymmetric, we have to investigate carefully. See, after 120 degree rotation, no identical. Similarly, after 240 degree, no identical, and so we have to go back to again 360 degree. So in a way, you can say that this figure has no order of rotational symmetry because of this asymmetry spot. So no order of rotational symmetry. Okay, now students, let me show you some more examples where you will find that there is no order of rotational symmetry. Let me first talk about this figure, this one. Okay, so identical one I have drawn over here. Now see, you might notice that the pattern is somewhat repeating, but the way it is arranged, it is not symmetric. There is an asymmetry involved, and as a result, if I rotate this figure, you will see I am rotating 90 degree rotation. The figure is not the same. Similarly, 180 degree rotation, not the same. So I have to go back to 0 degree. See, so again, just like the previous case, this figure has also no rotational symmetry, and the order of rotational symmetry is 0 in a way. Again, see this figure over here. If you rotate this, no way you are going to get the same figure again. So again, this figure has no rotational symmetry. Next, this figure. You might think that this has a rotational symmetry, but look carefully as I am rotating. See, I am slowly rotating. So after 90 degree, what do you see? They are not identical. After 180 degree, what do you see? See, the pattern is like this over here. This is okay. What about this? See, here we have got 4, whereas here this is 3. So the two figures are not the same. So I have to bring back again to 270 degree and to 360 degree. So you observe that here also this figure has no rotational symmetry. So in a way, we have clearly observed certain very interesting cases where there are no rotational symmetry. So all these cases, all these 3 cases, no rotational symmetry, whereas for these 3 cases, we clearly observed that the order of rotational symmetry is 3 over here, 4 over here, and again 3 over here. And we also noted that if there is asymmetry involved, then we have to look carefully, since there may not be rotational symmetry in the figure.